Howdy folks, Darren back with you here at Cross Timbers Farm. Welcome to 8th Day Chronicles. Glad to have you with us today. As you can see, we're fixing to bale hay.
And on the 8th day, God looked down on his planned paradise and said, I need a caretaker. So God made a farmer.
We have the Kubota L3200 and the Farm Maxx FMRB 330 made by Redlands Ashland Corporation Baler, hooked to our tractor via our drawbar system that we built. And we're getting ready to attach our PTO shaft and grease it and clean our baler a little bit. The first time it's been used this year. Check the gearbox oil, and then we're going to start baling hay. Glad to have you with us today. This hay is super thick. Yield's going to be up, and I got part of it raked and the wind went to blowing like crazy and blew part of my windrows apart. I'm going to have to, and I've already unattached the rake and all that, so we'll tidy up a little bit later what we miss due to it being blown around. But we'll deal with that later. For now, we're going to go ahead and bale the windrows that are still intact. It's going to make fair hay. It's steamy, first cut hay, and it is way overdue for cutting. The rain this spring and early summer kept us from cutting on our schedule. Delayed us by almost 5 weeks. So the hay's past prime. It's steamy, but there's a lot of undergrowth in there, and we're gonna make the best of this hay we can. It's been tedded multiple times. This is the 4th day, and we're getting ready to start baling. It's getting up in the evening, and we're gonna start baling. Stay with us. Glad to have you with us on this fine, beautiful early summer morning. Yesterday, midday, we tedded the test plot and the main hayfield. 4th day of dry down. After we got done raking the main hayfield, we hooked the baler up to the tractor, and we baled about 12 bales last night before it got so dark we had to quit. So you can see maybe behind me we have lots of windrows back here. This hay's thick. Our yield is probably going to go up significantly, just due to how long we had to let the hay grow. But I think it's going to make fairly decent hay. It's going to be steamy, but I still think the nutritional value of it's going to be good because of all that undergrowth that was in there. There's a lot of leafy material in there as well as the stems. So, like I said, we got about 12 bales done yesterday in the main hayfield before we had to quit, before darkness ran us off the field. We'll be baling the rest of the day, so stick with us. This is the day the Lord hath made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. What a beautiful day for baling hay. It's about 1 p.m. I've went out and checked our windrows. I flipped several of them over. And I think rolling these windrows again is just a waste of time. A waste of diesel fuel. They're dry. Underneath is dry. We've had really nice hot sun this morning and a breeze. So these windrows are dried out. We're going to commence to baling our main hayfield, and once this hayfield is complete, all the baling's done, we're going to move to the test plot, keep this tractor and baler chugging right along. I've double checked everything on our baler, tie and pick up, all that good stuff. Everything is set at the proper settings. We're ready to start baling hay. Let's go.
And on the 8th day, God looked down on his planned paradise and said, I need a caretaker. So God made a farmer. God said, I need somebody willing to get up before dawn and milk cows, work all day in the fields, milk cows again, eat supper, and then go to town and stay past midnight at a meeting of the school board. So God made a farmer. I need somebody with arms strong enough to wrestle a calf and yet gentle enough to deliver his own grandchild. Somebody to call hogs, tame cantankerous machinery, come home hungry, and have to wait lunch until his wife's done feeding visiting ladies, and then tell the ladies to be sure and come back real soon, and mean it. So God made a farmer. God said, I need somebody willing to sit up all night with a newborn colt and watch it die, and then dry his eyes and say, maybe next year. I need somebody who can shape an axe handle from a persimmon sprout and shoe a horse with a hunk of car tire, who can make harness out of hay wire, feed sacks, and shoe scraps, who planting time and harvest season will finish his 40-hour week by Tuesday noon, and then painin' from tractor back, put in another 72 hours. So God made a farmer. God had to have somebody willing to ride the ruts at double speed to get the hay in ahead of the rain clouds and yet stop in midfield and race to help when he sees the first smoke from a neighbor's place. So God made a farmer. God said, I need somebody strong enough to clear trees and heave bales and yet gentle enough to yean lambs and wean pigs and tend the pink-combed pullets, who will stop his mower for an hour to splint the broken leg of a meadowlark. It had to be somebody who'd plow deep and straight and not cut corners, somebody to seed, weed, and feed and breed and rake and disc and plow and plant and tie the fleece and strain the milk and replenish the self-feeder and finish a hard week's work with a 5-mile drive to church. Somebody who'd bale a family together with the soft, strong bonds of sharing. Somebody who would laugh and then sigh and then reply with smiling eyes when his son says that he wants to spend his life doing what Dad does. So God made a farmer.
First cut baling's done, at least as far as the main hayfield and the test plot. It's late. We just got done. This hay was so thick. For the first time ever, I jammed up my baler. I found when that thing, I actually had some windrows that I had to divide again. They were so huge. Mini round baler, your windrows need to be size appropriate, and we had some that was huge. I mean, I think they'd have been huge even for a square baler. You'd have needed a really big baler to handle some of those windrows we had here in the test plot. We had to divide them, and we got her done. Quality is better than mediocre, but it's stemmy. There was a lot of undergrowth. On the test plot, as far as yield, we set a record, 18.5 bales off of this little test plot, about 3/10 of an acre. The test plot's 2/10 of an acre, and we mowed about a half of the test plot extension. So it'd have been about 3 acres, and we got 18.5 bales off of it. And here's one of them, as you can see. Haven't weighed them or anything like that. It's about to get dark. We're gonna have to get these things off the field. It's supposed to rain in the early in the morning. We got our baling done just in time. I checked the moisture on this one and it was 16. Haven't really checked the moisture level on any of the rest of them, but this stuff's been cut for 5 days. And it's gonna rain tomorrow, so it's as dry as it's ever gonna get. Of course, we don't like our hay as dry as dust. When you let your hay lay out into the point where it's just sun bleached and moisture content's down to 3 or 2, I mean, it's just, animals don't like it. But you don't want to be too wet either. You want a good medium for quality hay. And this one tested at 16, but I haven't tested the rest of them. We'll get to that. We're going to store them in outside storage sheds anyway for the next week or so they have a chance to go through their heat cycle and cool. A small round bale's not really bad to heat up, like a big 4x5 or a 5x5 round bale. These little 2x2 bales are not that bad to heat up, but man, these things are rolled tighter than a drum lid. Really good looking hay, and it's probably about 50-pound bales. But I'd say between 45 and 50-pound bales. This one's at least 50. It's rolled nice and tight. I don't know if you can see the end, how tight that's rolled. But that's a nice bale right there. So we're done baling, and hopefully next week we're going to cut the reclaimed hay field, and I'll bring you along for that. But our main hay field's done. We got a record amount of bales off the main hay field too for us. I think we ended up with, I'm not sure, I'll give you a tally later whenever I make sure of those numbers, but we did get 18 and a half off this test plot. I think our best number as far as yield goes, and that's not the most important, quality's the most important, but I talked a lot about how thick and how tall and how steamy that hay had gotten, how thick it was. I think the best we had ever got was 10 bales. We got 18 and a half. It was slow baling. You may have saw some of the footage. I just had to go really slow. Give that little mini round baler time to eat that hay, those windrows up. But we're done for now. We still got one more reclaimed hay field to do, and our reclaimed hay field is still weedy. We got rid of some of the spring weeds, but the midsummer weeds is, some of them starting to show some signs of coming on. There's a lot of deer tongue in that field still. Of course, the spraying we done has no effect on that deer tongue. We're going to have to do something with that. But we'll bring you back for all that. We're still going to cut it. We need to get there is some decent hay in that field, but there's a lot of weeds mixed in, and we'll find that cutting it will help for weed control as well. So, good day. This is the day the Lord's made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. It's been a good day. We've put up a lot of hay today. We've been at it all day long. Thanks for being with us. We really appreciate it. And I pray that God blesses you and your family. Hope y'all have a fantastic day.